What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Finally One podcast. I'm Kelly.
Hey, I'm Natasha.
And today we're going to be answering some questions that we got from you all, the viewers, plus, giving some insight and some stuff on, just basically what's on our heart. So thank you all for the ones who've been watching, the ones who've been commenting.
Yes,
Listen, keep the comments, keep the questions, keep subscribing, keep liking. And please, please, please share. It helps get the word out there. So, all right. So, baby, how you been? How are you? First of all, we just came back from church. We both want to take that Sunday nap, but
yes.
But we have to do this. This is a mission. So, how you feel so far? Well, first, just tell me how you feeling. How you doing?
I am feeling wonderful. We got a good word from the pastor today, so I'm feeling good, rejuvenated, but I am a little tired. Been going all weekend, but I feel good. And as far as the podcast and stuff, I feel good. I'm excited. I get a little nervous sometimes, and this ain't my cup of tea, but I'm trying. God's got me. And y'all just pray for me.
For sure. You're doing a great job.
But I'm doing good. So how do you feel?
Wait, you're doing a great job.
Oh.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks, babe.
I know this is not... Oh, you pulling me together? You want to kiss me? You're doing a great job. I know this is not easy for you or something that you don't do normally. I'm usually speaking and doing stuff like this. I've been doing stuff like this for years, but not in this capacity. I'll say this is by far the easiest thing I've ever done and the least amount of stress or, anything that I've done. This is very easy doing this with you because I get to just be honest, be open, and share God's goodness. There's no amount of money you can place on the peace of God and being in this place that I am with Him. But I feel great. I just celebrated my 46th birthday. Man, probably one of 45, from year 45 to turning 46 was probably the best year of my life. I mean, physically, spiritually, financially, our relationship, our marriage, all of the things. I've never been in a place where I've been happy. I've never been a place where I had joy. And like I said, His peace. The majority of my life, I've been depressed. I've been unhappy. And if I have to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, my entire life, I ranged anywhere from a 1 to a 4. And so people see me operate, quote unquote, on a high level and accomplish and do a bunch of things. But those things were done out of survival mode. Those things were done while I was depressed. Those things were done while I was broken. Those things were done while I was hurt. And to be at an 8, that's where I am now. And the only reason I rated at an 8 because I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to get better. I want to continue to experience new levels in the Lord and new levels of growth and new levels as a man of God. So I am grateful all around. I'm happy in my marriage. My relationships with my kids are doing great. I got a grandson. My business is great. We're doing, this is purpose work. I feel like we found our purpose. Yeah. And us finding our purpose together and me getting in alignment with the Father has helped you find your purpose.
Yeah.
In alignment. She's always looked for what it was that she was supposed to be doing. And when this became, kept getting prophesied over us that we was going to be doing this, and it was like, okay, babe, you want to do this? Because I was scared. She don't do stuff like this. She don't speak. She want to be behind the scenes, but that's why I had to give her props. She's been doing a great job.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add to that? No, but that's true, right?
Yeah.
This is giving you purpose and something to do.
Right.
What's the difference for the people, and then help the women right now? What's the difference in what you see now? Well, just saw in this year from 45 for me, 45 to 6.
Saw in you?
Yeah, what's the difference? What's the biggest differences for me, that you've
Oh,
seen?
that you are loving God more. Like, I mean, I can't say that you didn't love God before, but
Yeah.
you had fell out of love with God. Like, you were not into His Word. You were doing online or whatever, but when you got closer to God, like, that stepped it up so much because like, it's Him, then you, and then the family falls into line, or, well, me, and then the family. But just, seeing your growth of you loving to worship, like, you don't even listen to that ratchet stuff no more. You
Oh, so wait, pause.
worshiping.
I used to listen to ratchet stuff all the
Kelly,
time.
you would come around singing all this. I don't even know
I used to
what
like
it was.
going down in the DM, but that's not really ratchet. I didn't go through a phase where I was listening to a lot of this new crazy stuff, but I used to listen to, a lot of secular music and stuff like that,
Right.
but not so much anymore.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do that. You don't cuss me out no more.
Stop it. Stop it. Cussing you out was few and far between, but I would lose it.
Like, and just your temper, your, like, everything it's lining up, and it's the will of God. Because before, like, you would, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you was out there. So
I was out there.
we know you was out there.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
What am I?
What did I used to
Am I
say?
in
You were the
there?
male whore. Like,
What?
you were out there.
You just put my business out there in the street on the
That's
podcast?
what this is for.
I was a male whore?
Kelly, you were.
Wow. So we got to open that up. We got to talk about that. I mean, you putting
We
it out
don't
there.
have to talk about it.
No,
if
no,
you
no,
feel
no.
comfortable.
We could talk about it. It's not about feeling comfortable because I am completely free. Like I am no longer bound. I am no longer shackled. I am not ashamed of my past. I was sitting in church today thinking about, especially with what the pastor was preaching on, how God is going to use all of that for His glory. Mm-hmm. Like everything I went through, and I'm going to be able to help some people. So, only thing I want to touch on, then we can get to the questions, is the fact that the reason that was even a thing for me, quote unquote, being a male whore, is I was trying to numb the pain. Mm-hmm. So where most people, well, not most people, let me take that out. Where some people, it's alcohol or it's drugs or it's something to try to numb the pain. My thing was sex. I had a sex addiction. Like most people don't even know that. I had a sex addiction. I had to get delivered.
Hey, we interrupt this episode because we have a book coming out.
Yo, so finally one, From Teenage Parents to Married to Divorce to Happily Married, is coming out. You know when it's coming out?
February 14th.
2025, 10 a.m. Get your copy on Amazon. And listen, help us become number one. Help us take this thing to number one. I've hit number one before on Amazon. This is my baby's first book. Help her become a number one best-selling author by purchasing a copy February 14th, 10 a.m. on Amazon.com.
And everybody knows that's Love Day. So don't forget, February 14th.
Help us buy a copy. Finally one. Listen, check it out. It's on the shirts. Listen, hear our story, right? Hear our story, how we became teenage parents, right? To how we got a divorce, everything. We tell it all in here. This is a tell-all book. We didn't hold anything back. We tell all of our dirt, all of our secrets. We were vulnerable. We became naked, right? And what makes us so free of becoming naked, we became naked before each other first, and then naked before God. And then we were prophesied before we became one again that we would write a book. So we were obedient in writing this book. We didn't want to do this, right?
No, I did not.
We did not want to do it.
I didn't.
I didn't want to do it either. But we were obedient to the Father, wrote this book to help couples, to help relationships, to help people who are thinking about getting married. This will help you, right? This is a testimony. This is ministry. This is our obedience. So get a copy, finally one, From Teenage Parents to Married to Divorce to Happily Married to Each Other Again.
Yes.
February 14th. Get your copy.
I hope it blesses you.
you know. Not going to tell you how I developed the sex addiction. You're going to have to read the book. But we definitely talk about that in the book. But that was the thing that I numbed my pain and ran away from God and ran away from my purpose and ran away from healing. You know, let's be honest. We don't want to heal. We don't want to go through. We don't want to deny that flesh. You know, when I wanted my family back, my pastor, he told me, he says, God's going to do it, but you're not going to like how he does it. And it took me getting on this side to understand what he meant. In order for me to get my family back and get my wife back, guess what? I had to kill my flesh. I had to die. I had to surrender my flesh. I had to surrender my will and lay down at his will in order for that to happen. And that's literally what happened. I had to repent, get rebaptized. I had to go through 7 months of cleansing, 7 months of healing, 7 months, no sex, no nothing, no masturbation, no nothing, like full consecration in my word, prayer, and with the Lord. I had to be delivered. And that's why you see a free man standing before you today. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about you. She was fast in those 7 months. She was trying, and what it was you was trying to get me to break my promise to the Lord. You was trying to get me to, lay with you, harlot.
I'm
just playing. I'm just playing.
I mean, it was.
But no,
it was hard because I was. The whole time we were divorced, I was not out there, not doing anything as far as sexually. So, I'm like, he was my husband. Like, why we can't get down with the get down? But, we had to go through it. So, praise God.
For me, too, though, you speak on this, too. The closer and the harder I ran after God, or the closer we got to God, the attraction and the intimacy level between us grew. Like, it was hard. It was hard. So you talk about that as well.
I mean, just the simple fact, I was looking at him more like, oh my gosh, I could see him clearly, and I guess because he was in the Word and with God and, trying to be committed, it was a struggle. We we fell more in love. I won't say we fell in love, but more in love, because it just brought us the connection, with not having that, just made us want each other more.
Yeah. So good stuff. All right. Good stuff, man.
I just had flashbacks though. When I first got pregnant.
What? What about when you first got pregnant?
And the doctor called, well, not when I first got pregnant, but when I actually had to take my test and stuff.
First time Aaron? You talking about Aaron?
With Aaron.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just waiting for the doctor. My blood work had came back, and they were like,
oh my God, you finna tell that?
I just said I had flashbacks.
But no, you could tell it because, like I said, I was, 19?
Yeah.
18?
Yeah.
Or I turned 19?
I turned 17.
Yeah, because I was 18 because I didn't turn 19 until a month before he was born. But go ahead, I was 18. You could tell them what you found out.
Just when I had actually gone to the doctor, because you will see in the book, I didn't go to the doctor early, but when I went to the doctor and they take the blood work and all that to make sure you don't have anything. And one day I'm sitting at home and they just out the blue call me, and I'm like, why are they calling me? What the heck? And I'm like, oh gosh, they're going to tell me I got AIDS. First time I had sex, they're going to tell me I have AIDS. And I'm like, yeah, this is Natasha. And they're like, we need you to come in. We've got to put you on some medication. I'm like, well, for what? They're like, well, you and your partner, somebody has came into chlamydia, and I had to be put on some antibiotics to get rid of that. But that's just, it came to mind when I called him a male whore, because he was out there doing everything and anything.
Facts.
So yeah,
100%.
That just came to my remembrance.
And you know what came to my remembrance? Thank God for his grace.
Nothing but
Thank God for his covering. Thank God for his mercy. Thank God when I ain't never contracted any other STDs
Yes.
or STIs. Glory to God.
Yes.
I'm so grateful.
That was just scary though, like they calling you,
Yeah.
and that's what all was
But
going
I didn't
around
even know
in
what that was. I don't know about
Yeah,
you. I'm
I
like,
didn't
what?
either.
I was so scared. I was like,
I didn't
when she
either.
told me, she was like, yeah, you gave me chlamydia, and you need to come get this medicine they gave me to give you to get rid. I was like, what? I was terrified because, you know, like I said, I was a teenager and I never had an STD, as they call them back then. They're STIs now, and I was scared as I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if we was gonna die. If
Right,
we was gonna
exactly. I didn't
anything,
know what it was either.
if we was gonna affect the baby. None of that. So yeah. But yeah, great stuff. I think that's gonna help somebody. All right, go ahead and pull up that first question. Is it a question for you or is it for me? Or both of us?
I think both of us can answer.
You answer
this,
first.
But, okay.
You answer first, but go ahead and read the question.
All right, we have a question from at Carmen
Grenard.
Grenard. Sorry, and the question is: do you feel it was easier for you to fall back in love with her? Okay, so it is. Since you both had known each other for so long, or do you realize after being divorced and probably dated other people, and you realize that it's easier to just go back and try to rekindle the relationship? As far as I was saying, but she did say to her, as falling back in love with me. But I cannot really answer it because I never fell out of love with Kelly. I've always had a love for him since I was, I guess, when I first had Aaron, or a little before. But I didn't really date, or didn't, I went out on a couple of dates, but I didn't really like fall in love just with somebody, so I can't really answer that. I don't know if it was easier or harder, but it took me a minute to bring him back in and look through all of the bull, but
You funny.
but yeah.
You
So
when you
you
said
can
what
answer.
about look through all of the bull? What did you say about
Look
that?
through all the bull with you.
Wow. So for me, here's the thing, and I'll start here. When we got the divorce and I ended up in this relationship, right? I'm trying to think of how to tackle this or tell the story. I ended up in this relationship with this young lady who was broken, who hadn't done any work, who pretended to be somebody who she wasn't. All of these things, pretended to be everything that I had been looking for, quote unquote. And I say this in the book. I tried to apply the lessons that I learned from a broken marriage, and I tried to apply them to a broken woman, and it just didn't work. And here was my first. I've had several prodigal son moments throughout the journey of us being divorced for 6 years. And the first one was this. This young lady for Christmas. Well, I don't even start at Christmas. Like when we first started dating, I just did a lot for her. Like I did a lot, like dates, concerts, everything. Like just doing everything. Like my business was taking off, so I had, more money, everything, right? And Christmas came, and I got her everything she asked for Christmas, along with I made her something sentimental by hand, right? Do you know this chick didn't get me nothing?
You never tell me that.
I told you I did something sentimental. It's in the book. I didn't say I didn't tell you what I made.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. Okay, go ahead.
You want to tell you what it was?
No.
You want the people to know?
No, because then they'll know who are you talking about.
They may or may
Not
not.
them, I'm saying that person.
That person knows based off what I'm saying. If they watch this, I don't think they're gonna watch this. But so Christmas came, I got them everything, and I did all of that, and they didn't get me anything for Christmas. And I was so hurt. Like I was so hurt because I had done so much for them, and they didn't get me anything for Christmas. And I remember I called her the day after Christmas, And it all hit me, and I apologized. I called her and I apologized, and I said, hey, I'm sorry. And she was like, what? I'm sorry. I took everything you did for granted.
Yeah.
I took for granted that the simplest things that you would think for any woman would be like a no-brainer, right? I took for granted that when we were married, we always had, clean linen. We always had towels. We always had, like, she took care of the home. So I get out here in this relationship and I would go visit this young lady. It was a long distance relationship. And I would get there and there would be no towels to take a shower. There would be no linen on the bed for me to go sleep. Like, it was just so many things. And that was my first prodigal son moment, right? Listen, if you would like for us to come to your church, share our testimony, or come to your next event, do a workshop on our 7 steps to becoming one, we would love to. We would love to share how we went from teenage parents to married to divorced and then happily married to each other again. Sweetheart, tell them how they can get in contact with us.
Yes, reach out to us through email. It's admin@kellyandnatasha.com. That's ADMINKELLY and NATASHA.com.
Yep, and you can also go to the website.
Oh yeah, the website is kellyandnatasha.com.
Yep.
Simple.
We would love to help your congregation. We would love to help and be a blessing to your event. So just go now. Go check us out.
Yeah.
So you would think I would have woke up then. I did not. And to go to where I can answer her question, the very last relationship I was in before I realized I wanted my family back, it was after several failed relationships in those 6 years, right? It was, hey, I was living better than this at home with my wife, right? That's number one. Number two, if you're going to have to do work anyway, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning, I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to start here. I was out there looking for what the Lord had already given me. So all of the attributes I said that I wanted somebody loyal. I wanted somebody I can trust. I wanted somebody, who loved me for me. I wanted somebody, like all of those things, who was a woman of God, who loved God. All of those, he gave me in her. I'm out there looking for that, right? And trying to turn women into that. And it didn't work. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be out here trying to build and doing all of this work, why not do it with my wife and I can have my family and my kids and my grandkids? Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how the enemy will blind you. He will blind you and think that what the Lord has given you is lacking something. Or what the Lord has given you, it's not enough. Like when you think about Adam and Eve, the Lord had given them everything in the garden. All he said was don't touch that tree in the midst of the garden. But that's what the enemy got them to focus on, right? And the biggest thing I learned was every woman that I dated, I tried to make them my mother, right? I tried to get them to feel all of these broken holes in me. Because guess what? I didn't want to change. I didn't want to heal. I didn't want to go through the healing process. So I made it her responsibility, especially in our first marriage, her responsibility to feel all of the broken pieces in me. And that's impossible, right? That's impossible. You've got to go on a healing journey and heal for yourself. Because guess what? Nobody is going to be able to make you happy. Nobody is going to complete you. Guess what? The only person can complete you is the Lord. So you got to heal. I'm telling you. And that's why 45 to 46 is the best year of my life, because I'm healed. And guess what? It don't matter what nobody do. Does it make sense? Like, it didn't matter who didn't say happy birthday to me. It didn't matter who didn't give me no gift. It didn't matter. I was full. I was happy. I'm happy with me. Does that make sense? I'm happy with me first. And because I'm happy with me, it don't matter what nobody else is doing. And then when you add, I got her, I'm good. Because I know she gonna ride with me no matter what. I know no matter what. When I hit that rock bottom, only person that was there was her. That was it. Anything you want to add to that?
Just to go back to you saying you wanted your wife back, you saw, how did you say it? You wanted what God had for you, which was me. But just touching on the first marriage, just how I was doing all of those things, like, and it was just out of love. I just did what I was supposed to do. But he would always come back to me and be like, I need a woman that is an entrepreneur. I need her to be with me and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, that's not me. So I just wanted to say that you touched about your...
Yeah, I wanted somebody who could understand entrepreneurship, what I'm doing, and I can come bounce ideas off of them, and I can... No, that's not necessarily her role. But what I can do, and what I've done this go around that has been beneficial for my entrepreneurship, has been beneficial for what I'm doing, is I'll say, baby, I need to hear your gut. I need your intuition. Right. Do you feel like this is a good move? Should I do this? And it has worked out tremendously. Like, man, and it started at the beginning, like when we committed. You want to share on that? Because I'm talking too much. You got to talk.
They want
to hear from you.
No.
Oh, so I am talking too much.
First of all, did you answer her question?
Okay, what was the question? I believe I answered the question.
Was it easier?
Was it easier?
Was it? Yeah, she was saying, was it easier to fall back in love with me, or?
No, it wasn't easier. I'll say this. It wasn't easier. It was, I took off, I had to break free of the trap of the enemy. Like, what was easier was, why am I out here being a fool, and I'm wrestling and I'm doing all of this work and I have no peace, right? It was easier to say, hey, I was living better than this. And it was like, my therapist told me to do this. I ain't never told you this. My therapist told me to do this. She said, make 2 columns. Put your ex-wife and put who you're currently dating, and put the pros and the cons and which one outweighed. And hers outweighed by a landslide. And I'm like, dang, like, why am I out here doing this? And he already gave me everything. So I wouldn't say that it was easy.
I just wanted to make sure you made it clear. I know you.
No, it wasn't easy.
It
wasn't easy because I still had to do the work. I still had to do the work. And the work was in me. It wasn't even in her or in this other person. Because I'm going to say it this way too. The biggest thing is to pray and ask God first. Because if God say no, it's no. Right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
If God say no, it's no. Okay? The flip side to that is, if you decide, guess what? And that person decides, and y'all believe in the same God, it could work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you decide, and that person decide, and y'all believe in the same God, I believe it could work. That's just my opinion. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Those 2 things are important. Y'all believe in the same God. That's number 1, right? And y'all both govern y'all lives according to the Lord. That's number 1. But I feel like if he decides and she decides, hey, that we're in this to death do us part, we understand this covenant we are making, we're going to honor this covenant, we're going to stay in this covenant, and y'all both do the work on yourselves and then collectively, I think it could work.
Yeah. Just don't override the spirit. Like, if he's telling you, then, and you might be tested and tried, but listen to the word. Take heed to the word.
Yeah, because y'all, listen to this. You heard her say at the beginning, she loved me, she never fell out of love with me, none of that. But she would not remarry me and she heard a word from the Lord. Tell them about that, then we'll go to this next question.
Oh yeah, it would be so bad. He was trying to get me back so much. Like, it gave me anxiety. Like, I was just like, I can't do this. Like, stop. And then I have to hear from the Lord, like, relax. We're friends. We go from here. And I have to hear from him. And it took me a minute, but just one day I was sitting in church and I was like, dang, is anybody else in here? Did anybody else hear that? But it was a word for me. Like, he clearly, and just sit down beside me, that small voice, and said, hey, I'm letting you know. So
yeah. So think about that. We had history. We had been married before. She still loved me. We had kids, the whole nine. And she wouldn't marry me without hearing from the Lord. And some of y'all don't even have that history. There's nothing been proven. You don't see no fruit in this person's life, and you're yet jumping off the boat with this person. Listen, you better pray and ask God and tell him to make it clear for her. I was so frustrated because I'm like, yo, babe, don't you see in the word? Like, we're missing our favor. We're doing this, and this by being outside of the, like, let's get married. You know it's me, you know
text messages, pictures. Look at our family.
Yeah.
And like, you had it before, like, so right. Yeah.
And she would not budge. She wouldn't marry me. But here's what happened. I start talking to the Lord. I say, you know what, babe? You're right. I left her alone. Guess who I start talking to? I start talking to the Lord. Lord, show her my heart. Lord, let her hear from you. Whatever the word is she needs to hear, let her hear it from you. Let it come from somewhere. Blah, blah, blah. That just began to be my prayer. And I left her alone. And boom, wait a minute, but I still acted in faith. Before she heard the word, I went and bought the ring because I knew this was my wife. And she'll tell you, while we were broken up, we had no hope. She going on dates and she doing what she doing. I told her she was my wife. And I was like, you've always been my wife. Like, it just took me the revelation to realize that the Lord said you were my wife, but you've been my wife. You've never not been my wife. So why are you acting like this? Even in the divorce, you were my wife. We never separated our bank accounts. She never stole a dime, right? She had access.
I wanted to watch what he was doing too.
She wanted to watch how I was spending, but she didn't bring me drama. And then this too. There's always peace.
Yeah.
Like, even in my cheating, she let me cheat in peace.
You's a fool. Get off of me.
Hey, if you're not going to leave that man, at least let that man cheat in peace. No, I'm just joking.
What?
You should not be in no relationship with no man that's cheating on you. But the peace, listen to me, the peace that this woman brings me and don't like stress me out, right? It's priceless. Like, cause I was in some situations where, I had no peace, and the chick that I was with, they didn't give me any peace, right? And to come home, the best thing I did was come home, sit my ass down. That's the best thing I did. I mean, that peace, you can't put a price tag on it. And she's a rider. Like, she ride with me. She stick with me. And if it's me and her, like, I'm gonna be good. Cause I already know she gonna help me get it. And it's not about, you know, what she brings to the table. I want to do a whole nother episode on that whole 50-50 thing. I don't want to go in that right now.
Yeah, because we got another question.
But let me put the bow on this. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Wrap it up.
Wow. Okay, now you're getting beside yourself. But no, she does. It's what we have is what people long for. And I'm grateful that the Lord loved me so much, he didn't allow me to ruin my life. Like, I would be miserable without her. Like, if I would have married any of those other women, if I would have been in any of those other relationships, or if she decided that she didn't want to, I would be miserable. Even if I would have found somebody else, I wouldn't have been happy. I would have been settling versus what the Lord had for me. All right, next question. Am I reading this or you? Who's this?
You got to answer this one too.
Okay, go ahead. right, go ahead.
Oh, well, I can answer too. We saying the name?
Should we say the name?
I don't
know if
know.
we should say the name on this one. No, let's not say the name on this one. Let's
Anonymous.
Anonymous, yeah, go ahead.
All right, it says.
She gonna know who it is because she watch every episode.
Should a woman lower her values for a man?
You go first.
No. You stand your ground. You know what God has intended for you. No. You be yourself. You don't lower for dirt or dong or whatever they call it. No. You stand up, be you, and God will bring that man to you if it's not the one that you think is supposed to be for you. So no, you do not lower yourself.
Lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, lawyer. Say it one more time. What's the question? Should a woman lower her values for a man?
Right.
Yeah. So when you talk about values, no, you should never lower your values. And I answered this person via text as well, so I'm gonna read how I answered it. But we did want to bring it to the podcast just in case it will help somebody, right? So this was my response. No, a woman shouldn't lower her values for a man. Okay. If we are talking about a Christian woman who is saved and is a believer, I think there are 3 things that should be non-negotiable. These 3 things should be non-negotiable, but you tread and you do your own thing. Everybody, here's another thing I learned, after being on this side, is everybody got to go on their own journey.
Yes.
You can't force nobody to believe how you believe, even if they say they serve the same God and reading the same book. Everybody got to go on their own journey. Everybody got to, in their time, get the revelation. But these 3 things I say should be non-negotiable. Number 1, he should be saved and a follower of Christ, and there should be fruit, right? Mm-hmm. There should be fruit of this, and it shouldn't just be in words, okay? Mm-hmm. You gonna know, right? You gonna know. Tell them, baby, when did you know that it wasn't an act with me and I wasn't talking, that my life had changed and I had rededicated my life back to the Lord? Like, when did it was undeniable that you knew?
From the testing of you, because I had to test you several times.
Like, how did you test me?
As trying to get you to have sex and everything else, but.
So what happened when you tried to get me to have sex?
Like you said, no, we cannot not do this. We have to be fully committed. We got to be into this. And I'm like, what? Like, you of all people? Like, if I walk through the house with my shirt off, you giving it? Let's go. But I had to test and trial. But I mean, just seeing your walk, like how you talked, how you act, how, like, all of it.
Yeah. And like, this is very important. Like, he should not be leading you away from the Father. He should be pulling you closer to him, right? There was a period in the 6 years where we tried to work it out, and it didn't work because we were living in sin, and my heart was still so far away from the Lord. We would be sleeping together all night, Saturday night. She'd get up and go to church on Sunday, and I would be laying in the bed. What was I leading her to? Even though we had been married before, we were no longer married, so we were fornicating. Yeah. I was not leading her to Christ. So when I really converted and got closer to the Lord, I led her to the Lord. Like, I began to water her with the word. I began to say, hey, pray with me.
Right.
And she could feel. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
That just came back to remembrance. He would, like, no, we got to pray tonight. We got to do this. And I'm like, what? And then, like, every morning we would do a devotion, and we still do our morning devotion. Like, we just read together, prayed together, like, yeah.
Yep. So there should be fruit. That's what I mean by fruit. Number 2, he should have a job and be working towards something. He should be able to provide in some way. You agree?
Oh, yeah.
That should be a non-negotiable, right? I didn't say he had to make 6 figures. I didn't say he had to have the most amazing job. He needs to have a job. He needs to have a clear vision of where his life is going, and he needs to be working towards something. I was a heathen, she'll tell you, but I was always working towards something. There's one thing she knew. I wasn't gonna settle for a mediocre lifestyle. We wasn't staying where we were, and that was when we ain't have nothing. I ain't know nothing. I was always working towards something.
Yeah.
Who's the one you said I asked you about? Who was that? Our friend who just followed us on Instagram. You said she lives in Florida. What's her name?
Diane.
Diane said to me one day, she said, this is way back. This was in our first marriage, and I was putting on promotions. And she said when she watched me and all of the things I do and how I hustled and all of this stuff, she said, yeah, I knew she would be all right. Because I've always been ambitious. I've always been a hustler. I've always been, determined and do. She'll tell you always.
Hustler. Yeah.
Always.
When we first got married, I was burning CDs for him to go sell at carnivals and everything else to make money.
Yep.
3 or 4 jobs.
We ain't never went hungry, but we you know what I'm saying, we didn't have everything we had now.
Right.
But it wasn't because she came home, she went to work and I'm playing video games, or no. My son can't say he woke up. Go ahead, what you gonna say?
No, I was just thinking I don't remember ever you playing video games like that with Aaron because you didn't really play them.
I played with him. There was a period where I did play with him to bond with him and stuff like that. But I ain't got time to play video games. You know what I'm saying? I got a family. I wasn't all the way right, but one thing I did have, I had a work ethic, I was ambitious, and I was determined to not stay in poverty. So yeah, that's number 2. Number 3. He should have been healed or began the process of healing from his trauma from his childhood or whatever he's been through. He should have been in the process of going to therapy with a licensed professional therapist. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with going to a pastor or none of that. Some people believe it, but I think you need both. I think you need Jesus and a therapist, because I've been to, several pastors for counseling and all. No. I think you need both. I don't think nothing's wrong with either one of them. But when I found my therapist, I prayed for her and I said, Lord, send me a therapist. Let them be spiritual, but not so spiritual that they're no earthly good. Because I did not want nobody hitting me in the head with a bunch of scriptures that I already knew, but not helping me figure out what's the problem in my life and what's the blockage and what I need to hear from. And he sent me my therapist, and she's amazing. Shout out to Reese Barnett. If you want her information, just let me know. But she's amazing. She don't just counsel men, she does women as well. But you agree with that? Mm-hmm. Had I been healed, what would our life have been?
Oh, we wouldn't have went through a divorce.
But I think it was for.
Oh yeah, it was for our good. We had to go through it, but
yeah.
I mean, if you were healed, we would have stuck it out
But so I'm grateful for what we went through. Is for our good. So as you can see, we're gonna answer y'all questions. Keep sending us questions, comments, concerns. You know the email?
Admin Kelly and Natasha.
Admin at Kelly KellyNatasha.com. Admin at KellyandNatasha.com if you want to email them. But it really helps us if you put them in the comments. So you actually comment below the video, or if you see one of the clips or something like that, that really helps us boost and gain more traction, more followers, because we're working towards getting monetized on YouTube and all of that. So yeah, anything you want to add? We did give a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah. So
I think we should definitely. Why don't you give the closing words today, or a closing thought today? What you think about that? Babe, you don't got one?
God bless. Thank you. Thank you for your support. If you can, tell your friends to subscribe, like help us. We love you. God loves you. If you need prayer, let us know.
For sure. Definitely.
That's it. We out.
Definitely. Peace. See y'all in the next episode.
Hey guys, just wanted to come to you thanking you for checking out the Finally One podcast.
Listen, this is what we need you to do. We need to grow our following. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Make sure you're sharing these episodes. You don't know what couple that they may help. So subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. You don't know who you're going to help. And make sure you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yes, guys. Share. Help us.
Yep. And you don't know who you're going to help. So it's not about us. It's about helping couples, right?
Share. Yeah.
So share, like, subscribe. Help us get our following up.